morning Year 3, it's Mrs Hicklin here and I'm here to teach us all about unit fractions this morning. So please make sure you are logged onto Google Classroom. Please make sure you have the PowerPoint for this lesson open and ready to be worked with. And please make sure if you have any questions during this presentation, make sure you message me or Mrs Collis on Google Classroom and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So we're kicking off our new unit, which is called Finding Unit Fractions. Can you please, if you haven't already, pause this video and complete the Show Me What You Know on the Google quiz. And once you've done that, make sure you click submit. It has to say submit your response so that we can get your scores and then come back to this video to carry on with the rest of this session. So, here is our new vocabulary that we're going to use for the rest of this unit. The ones that are in yellow are words you will be hearing today. So I'm going to very quickly whiz through them. And then when we come to them, we can explore them a bit more. So we've got fraction, part, whole, denominator, numerator, half, third, quarter, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, unit fraction, and represent. There's loads more words on there, but we'll come to them in different lessons throughout this unit. You might have already heard of lots of them as well, and you probably already know what a fraction is, but we're going to very quickly recap it just in case you've forgotten and just to make sure you have a great understanding of it ready for today's tasks. So, a fraction is an equal part of something or a number of equal parts of something. That's the key word. It has to be an equal part of something. So, there are two parts that make up a fraction. There's your numerator, which is the number on top of the fraction, on top of the line, and in this case it's 1. And this tells me how many parts I have taken out of the whole. So if it was a cake, I would have one slice of cake. That is my numerator. My denominator is the number at the bottom, and this tells me how many parts make a whole. So if it was my cake again, my cake has been split into 4 parts, and when those 4 parts are together, they make a whole. I have taken 1 slice out of my 4, so I have 1 out of 4. That's what that line really means. It means out of. 1 out of 4 pieces of cake. So numerator, denominator, together they make a fraction. A unit fraction then, so this is what we're looking at today. A unit fraction is where the numerator, so that's the number on top, the numerator is always 1. It's just 1 unit. That's why we call it a unit fraction. A bit like when we're doing our place values, it's the units or the ones, the tens and the hundreds. It's the same here. A unit fraction means that the numerator is just 1 every time. A non-unit fraction would be when the numerator is any other number but 1. And we'll look at those tomorrow and the day after, but for today, let's just stick with our numerator is always going to be 1 in this flow. For example, if I had a half, it would be 1 out of 2 pieces. So I could call it 1/2, and I know that my fraction has been split into 2 equal parts because that's what my denominator is. And I'm only taking 1 of those pieces because I'm dealing with unit fractions today, so I'm only going to take 1 as my numerator. Another example is if I had a third, it would be 1 out of 3 pieces. And it's called 1/3 because it's split into 3 equal parts, and I have taken just 1 of those 3 parts. So it is 1/3 because that is my unit fractions. So, what we're going to do, we're going to have a little bit of go at representing, and you will need a piece of paper. So if you don't have a piece of paper, pause this video, go and find a piece of paper. If you can't find a piece of paper, try and get a piece of tissue or kitchen roll. You'll only need 1, just try not to rip it, but it will work for this task. And what I would like us to do is practice folding our pieces of paper into half. Now it needs to be exactly into half. And that means when I fold it, the 2 sides meet up perfectly. So you can't rush this. You need to really practice taking your time to make sure that the 2 ends of my paper meet up perfectly and there's nothing overlapping them. And then I can squeeze it in the middle to get my line to show me I have 2 equal pieces, and they are the exact same size of each other. There are other ways that you can practice folding in half. So I've done it this way, but I could also do it this way as well. And again, I need to make sure that my 2 ends meet perfectly. There's not one little bit overlapping, because if there was, they wouldn't be equal parts. So that's another way of folding my paper in half. Now this piece of paper is a rectangle, so there might be other ways I can fold it in half. There might not be. I want you now for about 5 minutes to pause this video and have a go at folding your piece of paper into halves. How many different ways can you do it? Can you find a piece of paper that's a different shape, or maybe cut out a different shape from your paper, like it shows here, and see if you can fold those in half as well. So we're looking for 2 equal pieces. The next one we're going to look at is finding a quarter. Now a quarter is a half of a half. So it's a good job we practiced folding into quarters, because folding into halves, because that is going to help us with our quarters. Now, a quarter is 1 out of 4. So that means that my piece of paper needs to be folded into 4 equal sections. So what I'm going to do first is fold it in half, again making sure my ends are meeting, there's nothing overlapping, they are 2 at the minute, 2 equal parts. But then once I got it like that, I'm going to fold it in half again. I've halved my half, and that has given me 1 quarter. 1, 2, 3, 4. So your task now, again, pause this video for a few minutes and have a go at folding your piece of paper into 4 equal parts. Now we're going to practice finding a third. Now this is a bit trickier. We need to be a little bit more precise and delicate when we're folding our piece of paper. We are looking for 3 equal sections. And it is 1 out of 3 that we're looking for, because we are looking for unit fractions. So I've got another piece of paper. Again, this is a rectangle. So it will be different if I had a square or a circle or a star or a rhombus. This is a rectangle. So if you have a rectangle as well, you'll be able to do what I'm doing. If you've got different shapes, then you might have to have a little experiment, a little bit of trial and error yourself to see how many different ways you can fold it into 3. Now, I'm going to be really rough now. I should be using a ruler, and if you've got a ruler at home, I recommend you use one. But I've kind of got a ruler up here, because I'm a little bit older and I've had a bit more practice. So I'm going to fold it into 3, but you need to use a ruler. So, I'm going to fold my first section into 3, and then I'm going to fold my second. Now, I can already tell that that is not entirely equal. My folding is a little bit off, but on the whole, it does look like 3 equal parts. It's just ever so slightly wonky. So, 1, 2, 3. Is there another way this could be folded into thirds though? Pause this video and have a go. How many different ways can you get 3 equal parts? Not 3 unequal parts, they have to be the same size. So give that a go for me. Pause this video and off you go. And then if you would like to challenge yourself before we move on to our fluency activities, get some new fresh pieces of paper or kitchen roll or tissue and have a go at folding into 5ths, which would be 5 parts, 6ths, which would be 6 parts, 7ths, which would be 7 parts, 8ths, which would be 8 parts, and 9ths, which would be 9 parts. If anyone's doing any baking later or making any cakes or cookies or anything like that, why not try and cut your cakes into these fractions as well, because that might be a nice little fun challenge for you. Right, we're moving on to our fluency task. Now, this will be on your Google Classroom activity on our lesson, so please make sure you've got this open for this video. And you have 4 fluency activities. It says here, choose 1 colour and count the boxes carefully, because not all of them are the same as their denominator. So for example, this first one here says it's 1/2. My denominator in half is 2, but there are not 2 parts to that first bar. In fact, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So how do I split 4 into just 2? Because my denominator only says 2. I need 2 equal parts. So I would have to do 4 divided by 2, which I know is 2. So now I'm looking for what is 1/2 of this amount. And then I would get my crayon, or I would edit it on Google so that I'm colouring in just 1/2 of that first bar. Then you've got these here as well. So you've got 1/2, 1/4, an 1/8 and a 1/2. I want you to have a go at that one. Then you want you to move over to this one, 1/5. So there's 5 boxes there, and I just want 1 of those. We've got 1/10, but then we've got 1/2 here that also has 10 boxes. So what is 1/2 of 10? How many boxes would I need to colour in for it to still be a unit fraction that is 1/2? Tricky, don't get caught out on that one. We've got this one down here, which is 1/3, 1/6, 1/9, and 1/7. And then you have a challenge. Shade these fractions, but their denominators are different to the amount of boxes they have. So if I've got 1/3 here, I'm going to count the boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 9 boxes. What is 1/3 of 9? What is 9 divided by 3? That will give me my unit fraction. So these ones are a little bit trickier, but I would like you to pause this video and go and have a go at those fluency questions. If you are struggling with anything, Miss Collis and I will be on Google Classroom and Class Dojo for you to message us. Right, let's move on to our thinking tasks then. So, if you've done really well in that fluency, if you found that really easy, this is going to be quite easy as well. But if you struggled a little bit, make sure you're listening now, because I'm going to help us answer both these questions. So the first one is, convince me that 1/4 is less than 1/3. And how could we convince me? Well, the way I would be convinced is if you showed me, if you did everything that we've just been practicing fluency and showed me the fraction. So let's have a quick look over here. I need 1/4 and 1/3. Well, I've got 2 bars and 2 circles to show you what these fractions look like. 1/4 is split into 4 parts, and I know that because the denominator is 4. So that must mean I have 4 equal parts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now my 1/3 is the same width as my 4th up there, but this time instead of 4 equal parts, I need 3 equal parts, because 1/3 for the denominator, it's the number 3. So I need this to be 3 equal parts. So, even though they are the same size, this could be the same chocolate bar. Let's imagine it's a Dairy Milk. It's the same size as a whole, but when I split it up into equal parts, which one's going to be bigger? Is it 1/4 or is it 1/3? If you can't quite see that in the chocolate bars, let's have a look at some pizza instead. If it was 1/4, it would be split into 4 equal parts, but if it was 1/3, it would be split into 3 equal parts. So I'm just going to colour in just one of those. That's 1/4, that's 1/3. I want you to have a go at drawing these. They don't need to be perfect, they just need to be some rough sketches. But now I want you to use those diagrams, and I need you to tell us which one is smaller and how do we know. Is it 1/4 or is it 1/3? So have a go at that one first. Your second thinking task is show me at least 5 different ways to represent 1/6. Now that means you need to find 5 different ways of drawing diagrams. So this is one. You could draw a bar, you could draw a circle, you could draw it as arrays, you could draw it as stars, you could draw it as any shape you want, but I would like to see 5 different ways of you representing one sip. Now you can do this on a piece of paper, take a picture and send it to us. Or if you're really, really clever and like a whiz kid at computers, you can figure out a way of doing it on Google Classroom, then please go for that as well. But if not, just draw them on a piece of paper or on a whiteboard if you've got whiteboards at home, take a picture and send it in to us. So, your last task is the explaining. It says, Joe ate 1/4 of a pizza. Nafisa ate 1/2 of what was left. Ali ate the rest of the pizza. Draw a diagram to show how much pizza Joe, Nafisa and Ali ate. I would like you to have a go at this, and then at the end of the lesson I will be revealing the answer on Google Classroom. So you need to have a go first, and I want to see you working out if you've drawn things to help you, then fine, but it does need to be a written explanation. I need to know what Joe ate, what Nafisa ate, Ali ate the rest of the pizza. Draw a diagram to show how much they ate, okay?